I'm Jennifer Willis. So I always had a good eye for a photograph. Even whenever I was younger, I could compose it relatively well, etc. But it really took off for me as a response to a prolonged period of illness that I had about 17 years ago. And instead of being able to play hockey, go skiing, etc., I was no longer able to do that. So my husband said, look, why don't I buy you a camera, a decent camera, and you can come and photograph the boys as they play their sport, and basically it became an interest. It became a way of keeping me involved in the normalities of everyday life. I started then photographing more sport, following my boys around as they got older, playing hockey, etc. And then that graduated into becoming a little bit more obsessive about photographing Methody rugby. And then actually, as a result of being involved in the rugby, I was invited to join Catchlight Camera Club. I've been surrounded by people who have been encouraging, who have been willing to mentor and to share their skills, and my learning curve has almost been vertical since being amongst them. One of the big things that made me realise that I could maybe do something a little bit special, a little bit different, was whenever I have a very good friend who had lost her partner and was really struggling through the grieving process. Before her partner died, he had asked me if I would get her involved in something that would help her. And so I decided to offer to get my friend into the studio and take some photographs of her. And it turned out to be a cathartic experience for her. And I learned so much from being in the studio with someone who wasn't a model. Yes, she was my model, my subject, but she was there as my friend, and I learned so much there from just interacting. To almost do candid shots in the studio, it's not the normal run-of-the-mill, but I realised I was capturing something a little bit special, and I realised actually that the empathy that I had with my friend was something that was helping me capture that image. So that became a really important learning process, and I'm just so very glad that I had the opportunity to do that. After Seen to Be Heard, I do need to take a little breather to get my head showered, but I always used to say I'm not really fixed in any one particular genre of photography, but I would like to find more projects where I can tell the story through portraiture. I never tell people that I never make you look any younger. I like realism. There's no skin smoothing or removing lines or anything like that. It's a story from within that I want to be able to tell. So I'm actually going to be working on a project with some Syrian refugee women. I'm very excited about that. I think this has been such an amazing experience to be able to use my photography for good, to help people, both with my friend before I started on Seen to Be Heard, but also hopefully going forward. I think that's the way a lot of my photography time will be spent.